harder to put that on. Okay, these will just flip up. When you use these guys, you want to make sure you flip them the right way. Yeah. They can flip the other way. It's almost closed, yeah, but not right, you know. So what'll happen is this part goes up. Okay. You take the crossbar here, and sits on like so. Put it in, and flip them over. Like I said, the big block goes towards the up. If you look, they actually have a picture of it there too. So and just locks down. They do provide a set of padlocks. It's in the bag there. If you're going to lock this to the vehicle, what I recommend is put a lock here, and there's a place to put a padlock down here. If you put them both here, somebody pulls those pins, they're still in your vehicle. So if you put a lock here and here, they can't get the vehicle unhooked off the motorhome. These pins will come out. Close enough. Okay, the cover just slides off the tow bar. It has a little clip on there. This can store either way. I stored it this way. 1 for the ladder, 2 for the exhaust air. You don't want anything coming back and getting on it. But it doesn't make a difference if you're in a hurry. Just flip it up there. Okay, to let it down, there's a little catch right here. Okay. This is the fun part of the tow bar because it is still new. Everything is still pretty tight. To put it into place when you're done, what I found is leave the bars a little bit wide. That way you can roll it this way, line it up, then fold it down. Okay. Just makes it a little easier to get that. Like I said, after about 5 or 6 pulls, the paint starts wearing a little bit, it gets a little bit looser. Then you'll have the problem that it wants to be loosey-goosey, so can't win for losing on that either way. Okay. Well, I get one but not the other. This just slides into place like so. Pins have to go from the inside out or you won't be able to get the lock in. Like so. And like I said, the chances of me being right, nope. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the vehicle up and pull forward just a little to get it lines up.
The battery is a little low, eh?
Yeah, it seems to be. Okay, again, you just put this pin in, like so. Like so. What I'm going to do, you don't have to do this. As soon as the car and the motorhome pull apart and get straight, it'll lock itself in. I'm going to lock it in just so you see the handles and stuff move. Okay. It's hard to see those handles move. It's not as... I'm going to leave it like that.
Yeah, it'll lock.
But it locks in. Always make sure your wheels are going to the straight so when you pull out, if it isn't locked in and you're making a turn, this arm will collapse on itself. It's still not going to let it hit the motorhome or anything. Don't worry about it. As soon as the car and the motorhome come straight in line, it will lock itself out again.
So the procedure should be, I should be a little bit closer than you were initially, and then as lined up as I can, put them in, and then
disconnect everything. Yeah, disconnect the drive shaft, disconnect and everything. Okay. Now we'll reach in our bag of stuff. These were the locks I was talking about. Like I said, you can put one here. If you put the locks visible here and here, most people don't know about the bottom one, so they don't mess with it. To be honest, if you wanted to be ungodly safe, you need 6 locks. 1, 2, 3 for each side, right. And then the lock.
They come with the saws.
They come, yeah, so. Okay, now we got is the safety cables. You'll notice there's 2 little safety cables here. What happens is they hook this to the part that goes to the frame of the car, like so. I'll take the other hook and hook it in the tow bar. The reason they do that, and it'll be easier to see when you get on that side, is if for some reason you forget to put the hitch pin in, we're hooked to the frame of the car. If for some reason these bolts would shear or whatever, this pin comes off, it's still hooked to the motorhome. So, now you take the safety cables, wrap around the tow bar, and hook on. Again, we'll do the exact same thing on that side. I know a lot of people end up just hooking the safety cable straight to the frame of the car. You're rolling the dice, and if one of those bolts breaks, you know, it keeps everything under control when you do this. Lie down there. Okay, you want to put a wrap around the tow bar.
Yeah, so
and cross cables.
Yeah.
The reason you're crossing the cables is if this pin would pull out here, it's going to catch the tow bar before it hits the ground.
I got this.
So that's the reason you go with the...
2 wraps, maybe?
I don't like wrapping these tight because if something binds, then you're... I think the wrap doesn't look the same to me, so it's like kind of annoying. Okay, so that takes care of that. The electrical to the car. Pretty simple here. If you look at these, it's easier to see on the 7-way. There's a notch at the top of it. Okay. It's key to go in, that goes up. This one isn't as noticeable, but it is there, and that goes up.
Keyway.
Yep. You can He-Man woman hate this one into place. You do, you end up blowing a fuse, and then you'd be like, why doesn't something work? Just plugs in like so. I put the wire over the top of the tow bar, just to keep it from dragging. Keyed in. Okay, something to point out here is if you look inside this plug right there, you're going to see little round pins with slots in them. What'll happen is after you plug this in about 1,000 times, those pins start to squish together and don't make contact with the barrels in here. All you do is just take a small penknife or a screwdriver, tweak them open a little bit before you come back here and say, my lights don't work. Right. Because I'm going to go out there and I'm going to say, okay, this is good, we'll take care of it for you, have a nice day, but it's 30 minutes out of my day that I didn't have to. So that just plugs in like so. Okay, air line to the brake system. There's little dust covers here and here. These just plug in, like so. I'm going to put that in here. Like so. You want to keep the dust covers, especially the one for the front of the motorhome, because you don't want the dirt to get into it. The back of the motorhome, other thing you can do, go like this, and some people will just wrap this around the tow bar with the cables and everything, and slide that cover on there. It's a little bit of a jockey to get all the cables and everything underneath the dust cover, but you can do it. Okay, the breakaway key. Hooks on like so. And across. Yeah. It's a little tight there. You can just take the cable, go all the way through, and lock it on itself. No matter what all you want something solid that it'll pull that key out.
What does that do when it pulls it out?
What that does there is it will apply the brakes after you've been driving. As soon as you drive and step on the brakes, there's a small air reservoir on the front of the car. It's underneath, hooked to the frame of the car there. There's an air cylinder that hooks to the brake pedal. So when you step on the brakes, air comes through that line and applies the brakes to the car. It pulls the air cylinder or pulls the cable and applies the brakes. The harder you step on the brakes, the faster the air goes back to the car, the faster it stops. So it's, you know, it is proportional to how hard you stop. But there's also a little reservoir in there that holds, you know, enough to apply the brakes basically 3 times. But if I pull this key, it applies the brakes. So if the car would break away from the motorhome, it stops the car so it doesn't keep rolling down the, you know, side of a mountain. Yeah. Usually if it happens, you want it to roll. I don't want to see it, just keep driving. Okay. This is probably the cheesiest setup they have for a warning device on the brake system. I'm not a big fan of it, but they really don't have a better option through SMI. What this does is it's just a little set of LED lights. They have you Velcro it to the mirror, and you use your backup camera to see if that light up comes on. It tells you the brakes have been applied. I'll show you here. There is a little plug right next to your emergency brake handle. I just push it up and out of the way when I don't use it. But you plug it in and just lightly set this for a while, because what happens is those bullet connectors on the end of that are really snug. So if you go like this and push it in tight, you're going to be like this trying to get it out. Once it starts working in there, it'll get loose. As you see, when the brakes apply, the lights come on. You can see it in your backup camera fairly well at night. If you're driving into the sun where the sun's glaring off the windshield, you ain't got it clear. But that's the general idea. It's not a Greek tragedy. Once you drive with this a few times, you'll automatically know how it feels. They do make a wireless one, but your coach is a pretty long coach. We've been finding issues anything above 35 feet. They weren't making the signal to the front. It was haphazard whether the light would come on inside or not. Okay. Yeah, the cylinder is actually hooked to the brake pedal. You cannot see it from down here. Okay, the one thing you need to remember about this is that you have adjustable pedals here. They have to be adjusted all the way out. The reason is during my setup, I have to have them all the way out so that my cable adjustment is right. If I let them all the way in and somebody bumps that pedal, it could start to apply the brake. So it's always all the way out. If you run them in, it won't break enough. So at that point, that's
put that down.
That is, he's recording it right now. So, but it's one of those. I cannot stress that one enough, because, like I said, you'll just have mushy brakes there. But you know, the brake system, you've got a pretty good sized motorhome. You are on the high side of what people tow, but you still got quite a few brakes, braking system on the motorhome. Brakes are to keep a control going down the hill a little bit. And to be honest, unless you have an accident, nobody cares about the brake system. They're not going to pull you over to look for it, but if you're in an accident and don't have it...
I would rather have it anyway.
Yeah. Other than that, the car and the motorhome are completely hooked up. You have your drive shaft disconnect, which you have to disengage. The one thing I'll recommend on that, I used to work at Camping World when I installed these. You want to lubricate that a lot.
WD-40?
WD-40 is a good cleaning agent. It's water-based, so it evaporates out. You can use that, brake clean, to clean it off.